Hello, in this video we are going to learn how we integrate powers of tangent and secant. First of all, let's review some rules regarding tangent and secant. The first rule is that the derivative of tangent is secant squared, which means the integral of secant squared is tangent. The second rule is that the derivative of secant is secant tangent, which means the integral of secant tangent is secant. Also, the integral of tangent is ln secant. Rule number 4 is that the integral of secant squared multiplied by tangent to the power n x dx would be tangent to the power n plus 1 x over n plus 1, because the derivative of tangent is secant squared, which means this integral is of the form u prime u to the power n, which is un plus 1 over n plus 1. And the last rule that we are going to use is that secant squared minus tangent squared equals 1. If you want the proofs of these rules and other rules regarding tangent, secant, and cosecant and cotangent, you can check another video that I've done regarding these trigonometric functions. All right, so let's start first of all with the integral of secant to the power 4. As you can see, most of these rules contain secant squared. Either if it's the integral of secant squared or the integral of secant squared multiplied by tangent to the power n, or secant squared minus tangent squared. So what I need to do is I need to extract secant squared. And easily, secant power 4, it's secant squared multiplied by secant squared. Now, I need next to secant squared either tangent to any power, or I need it alone. So I need either integral of secant squared alone, which is tangent, or I need integral of secant squared multiplied by tangent to any power. So what I do is that one of these secant squared, I replace it by 1 plus tangent squared, because secant squared minus tangent squared is 1, which means secant squared x is 1 plus tangent squared of x. So one of them only, I replace it by 1 plus tangent squared. Then I expand. So I will get integral of secant squared x dx plus integral of secant squared tangent squared. Now we can integrate. Integral of secant squared is tangent, and integral of secant squared tangent squared, I will be using this rule here, and it will give me that it's 1/3 tangent cube plus x. So this integral would be tangent x, because the integral of secant squared is tangent x, plus 1/3 tangent cube x plus a constant c. Now let's see another integral, which is the integral of tangent squared. So integrating tangent squared, the integral of tangent squared alone wouldn't give me anything. So I should use this formula in order to extract or to find secant squared, which is the function that I'm searching for. It's secant squared. So tangent squared is equal to secant squared minus 1. So now I have integral of secant squared minus 1, and easily I can say that the integral of secant squared is tangent, the integral of 1 is x, so I get tangent x minus x plus a constant c. Okay, let's make things a little bit more complicated by checking the integral of tangent cube now. So integral of tangent cube x dx. I remind you that I need to find secant squared somewhere. So what I do is that I write tangent cube as tangent squared x multiplied by tangent x. And tangent x, I would replace it by, sorry, tangent squared x, I would replace it by secant squared x minus 1. So now I have integral of secant squared x minus 1 multiplied by tangent x. I expand, I will get that this becomes the integral of minus tangent x plus the integral of secant squared multiplied by tangent x. The integral of tangent x is ln secant, so I will have minus ln absolute value of secant, and the integral of secant squared tangent x, so here it's as if I have tangent to the power 1, so it's u prime multiplied by u, which is u squared over 2, so I'm gonna get minus ln absolute value of secant plus half tangent squared x plus a constant c. I'm sorry, this is not dx, this is plus a constant c. Now the last integral that I'm going to solve is the integral of tangent to the power 4. So also, again, I need to find somewhere secant squared or tangent squared, because it's going to lead me to secant squared. So I write tangent to the power 4 as tangent squared multiplied by tangent squared. Now what I do is that one of these two, I write it as secant squared minus 1, not both of them, because I need, when I have secant squared, I need next to it tangent or a power of tangent, or I need it alone. So one of them, I transform it into secant squared, or I write it as secant squared minus 1. So now I have integral of secant squared minus 1 factor of tangent squared, which I expand, and I get integral of secant squared tangent squared minus integral of tangent squared. Now the integral of secant squared tangent squared, it's the form u prime u squared, so it's going to be u to the power 3, which is tangent to the power 3 over 3. And integral of tangent squared, we just solved it in less than a minute, and we get that this is 1/3 tangent cube, and as I said, the integral of tangent squared, we just solved it, and we get minus tangent x plus a constant c. Thank you for watching.